Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet these pretty sleigh ride mittens. These are full of texture and we've done them in a striped kind of woven mitten. It has a ribbed cuff and a matching thumb. And we experimented with color a little bit with this kind of teal and orchid color, and then more of a wintry looking green, off-white, and charcoal, and this one has the same charcoal as well. These mittens are super warm and thick, and they'll be extra cozy for a chilly winter. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a 6.5mm K crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and as an option, if you need a ruler or a measuring tape to measure as you go along, if that helps, especially when you make two of something, if you want to make sure they're measuring up properly. And also your yarn. I used a chunkier yarn. This is called Lion Brand's Lion's Pride Wool Spun. And this is a color selection I'm going to make for the second mitten. But this first mitten that I made, this is the charcoal, the orchid, and the aquamarine, in case you want to replicate this color. This is also the charcoal here. And I think this is called ivory and avocado. So let's get started. The finished mittens are about 10 inches tall from the bottom of the cuff up to the tip of the finger. And then they measure about 7 inches across, including this thumb. So from here all the way across to here is about 7 inches. And then around this top part here, the circumference is about 10 inches also. Now, depending on the yarn you use and your own personal tension, your measurements may vary slightly. So I would recommend using your measuring tape as you go. These mittens have now they're sized to be an adult size. They have a generous fit. They're bulky. So they're very thick and lofty and cozy. And the stitches that we're going to use, the front post and back post double crochet, give a nice sturdy, textured, really pretty fabric, but it's also nice and warm and thick. So these are going to be, I like my mittens to be a little bit roomy, not big, but a little bit roomy so I can move my fingers. They don't fit very snugly. They do have a little bit of give in them, but they're not overly big because they are bulky. So we have one mitten complete. We're going to make the second mitten in a slightly different color scheme because I really want everyone to be able to see really just how much you can play with the colors with this pattern. So what we've done is we've made the cuff, and it's really just a band, a long rectangle that we've seamed, and then we've later built the mitten onto the top of the cuff. And then at the end, we will add the thumb. So what we're going to do is begin with this cuff. The cuff is very easy to make, and it has a little bit of a ribbing at the bottom. So I'm also going to make the cuff with this charcoal and the thumb with the charcoal, but this kind of basket weave textured main part of the mitten we're going to do in the avocado and this off-white color and the charcoal instead, and you'll really be able to see how different these mittens can look. So let's begin with the cuff. The cuff is very easy, so we're going to grab our charcoal yarn, and what we're going to do is put a slip knot on our hook. So to make a slip knot, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, and bring up a loop, and then go ahead and tighten. Next, we're going to make a chain. We're going to chain 8 to begin. So that will give us the height. This is a height of 8 stitches high, because we're going to be making the band and seaming it. Okay, so what we're going to do is chain 8. So to make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so this is our starting chain. Next, we're going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So this loop here does not count. So count 1 and 2. So work a single crochet in that chain right there. So insert your hook, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. That's the single crochet. Next, we're going to work a single crochet in each chain all the way across. So single crochet single crochet all the way across until we reach the end. Get a little bit more yarn from our yarn ball here. Okay, just coming up to that last chain. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. That will be the beginning of our mitten cuff. Okay, next we're going to continue with the cuff of our mitten by working the next row. So the next row will be row 2, and this is the row we're going to be repeating for the rest of the entire cuff until we get to the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to work a single crochet into the back loops only, and this is what's going to give us the ribbed effect of our cuff. So what we're going to do is insert your hook. If you look at the top, if you turn your work towards you and look at the top, you can see all these little V's. So the V on this side is the front loop. The V on this side is the back loop. So we're going to be working into the back loops only. So in that very first stitch, insert your hook into just the back loop of the stitch and bring up a loop. Now wrap yarn around hook and bring it through both loops. You'll just continue to do this across. Insert the hook into the back loop, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Okay, so just continue doing that all the way across. And you can already see, because we're leaving that front loop unworked, you can already see when we open it back up a little rib that's forming. Okay, so that's a really easy way to give a little decorative rib or ridge onto your work. Okay, so then what we're going to do to finish our cuff is we're just going to repeat the same row that we just did. We're just going to repeat that over and over until our strip is 8 inches long from the beginning. Okay, so this is where your measuring tape will come in handy. So what we're going to do, just the same thing, chain 1 and turn. Now just work single crochets into that back loop only. So I'm going to continue working on my cuff, and we'll rejoin towards the end of this rectangle when we're finishing up and we're ready to seam it together to make it cylindrical. So just repeat this row over and over and over again until the piece is 8 inches long. Okay, so I worked row 2 over and over and over again until my cuff measured 8 inches across. So we're going to next seam this together so that it becomes the cuff of our mitten. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half just like this so that the edges are sandwiched together. And we'll just leave this tail out of the way. We can deal with that later. And then what we're going to do is, you can tighten that a little bit if you need to. So sandwich those together. So we already have our hook in this loop. We haven't taken our hook out of here. So what we're going to do is insert the hook into the other side so we have both pieces. And then get your working yarn, wrap it around the hook, bring it through that first layer, and bring it through that next layer. Okay. Next, we're going to insert the hook into the next stitch here. See, I have both loops on there. Insert it into the next layer. Do the same thing. Wrap the yarn around the hook. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. What we're doing here is a slip stitch seam. You could do a single crochet seam, but this is going to give you a little bit less of a bump on your cuff and will be more comfortable to wear. Okay, so we're just going all the way across, working a slip stitch into both layers of our mitten. Okay, and then at the end here, that last stitch on the end, that last part of our layer here. Okay, so here's our seam across, and just take your scissors, cut, and fasten off. Okay, so then this is inside out at this point, so we're going to put it right side out. And now we have the bottom of our mitten, so you can see how it looks. Okay, so to set up, this is the next part of our mitten. We're going to work the body, or the main part, the hand part. So if I put the mitten on, you can see we're going to work from the wrist up. So this part here, we did like a ribbing this part is going to be in this basket weave, which we're going to create by using front post and back post double crochet stitches. And that's going to give us all this really pretty texture. Also, I wanted to mention the mittens are the same on the front and the back. So you can see they're exactly the same. So they are interchangeable. So you can put it on your left hand, and there's no special design on the top, so there isn't really a left or right mitten. Okay? So next what we're going to do is we're going to set up the row, or the round rather, in which we're going to build this basket weave design on top of. So what you can do is you can pick a different color, but what I like to do, because we're going to be working this, we worked this way, now we're going to be turning it and working this way. So I like to use the same color just so it blends a little bit. Sometimes when you work a different color into the edge of a piece, it'll look a little bit jagged and a little bit messy. So if you want to switch colors and just start working your colors right away, you totally can do that. But I'm going to work this same charcoal just so it looks a little bit neater and blends in a little bit nicer. So what you'll want to do at this point is to insert your hook into one of these stitches here. We're going to be working, when you work into the sides, you'll work into stitches and holes that these rows create on their sides. So just tie the yarn right on, and then we're just going to work a single crochet all the way around here, and we need to make sure that we have a total of 18 stitches. So just count as you go, and what I did was, if you need to, if you're need to add one, you can work 2 in one area or what have you. So what I did was just kind of count it as I went around. So insert your hook, bring up a loop, and then we're going to just work a single crochet all along the edge here. So just count until you get 18 of them and try to space them evenly. Okay, so single crochet. Actually, if you haven't done a single crochet, insert the hook into the stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, just try and get it in there the best you can. 4, it's not always easy to see. 5, actually, sometimes it can be a little bit too holy, so just try and go in between them. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we're coming up to where we began, 16, 17, and 18, and then just find, where you began, and then just join with a slip stitch. Whoops, my tail has gotten involved there. There we go. Then just join with a slip stitch to close. Okay, so depending on your tension, because we measured 8 inches, you might have to either spread your stitches out a little bit or put a few in there, depending on how many holes you had here. Okay, so now we're ready to start building our mitten. Okay, we've set up this single crochet round, and that will give us a nice neat edge to work our stitches. So I just cut, I'm going to fasten off. Then we get to begin with our wonderful colors. Okay, so we're just going to lay this down for a minute. You can weave these ends in as you go. I'm just gonna kind of leave them aside right now. We'll deal with those later. But you can weave them in as you go. That'll save you a ton of time. I'm going to grab this really pretty green I have here. This is the avocado. And for our first round, we're just going to work regular double crochet stitches. We're going to start with the basket weave on the next round, but we're going to set these up with just a round of double crochet stitches. We are also, if you look at your hand, you have your wrist, and then you have this bottom here where your thumb starts to branch out. This part of the mitten here is called the thumb gusset. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building just slightly, very slightly. This is a very bulky, roomy mitten, so it's not, we don't have to do, it doesn't have to be too much precision, but we are going to build up the thumb gusset on this side just a little bit, just to give our thumb some room. And then we'll be narrowing it as we go up to the top. Okay, so all we're going to do is just tie this avocado right on, just like that, where we began here. Okay, so let's get all these little strands out of the way here. They're all kind of taking over. When you turn your mitten inside out, when you're finished, it will kind of look like a horse's mane. It's very, because we're doing all these colors. Now, obviously, you can do solids if you like it as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to reach back in where we tied this yarn. Reach in and bring up a loop. And then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now in the same stitch, we're going to work a double crochet. Okay, so just work a double crochet. Next stitch, our next single crochet that we did, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So to make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the stitch, bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. So work 2 double crochets in that stitch. Get a little bit more yarn. These colors look so pretty and wintry. The next stitch we'll do the same thing. So work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. So we're working a couple of stitches in each one of these to build up this thumb gusset area. Okay, 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Okay, so we have a little bit of a part here that goes outward. And then for the remainder of the round, we'll just work a double crochet into each stitch. So just go all the way around working a double crochet into each stitch. I'm going to continue, and then once we get towards the end of this round, I'll show you how to join and to close the round. Okay, I'm just coming around here. I'm working that last double crochet in that last stitch. Okay, so next we're going to close our round. So insert in the 3rd chain up, 1, 2, 3, from that chain 3 we did at the beginning of the round. Insert your hook in the top, the 3rd chain up, bring up a loop, and bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. So we're joining to close with a slip stitch. Okay, so we're ready to change colors. Now I wanted to mention there are lots of ways to change colors when you are crocheting. Everybody kind of has their own preferred way. I like to just cut the yarn and tie the new one right on. If you have a preferred way that you like to change colors, definitely feel free to do that. Okay, so next of our color pattern, we have this really pretty cream color off-white. So we're going to get this green out of the way, and then we're going to tie on this off-white. Okay, so this is the round that we're going to begin this basket weave pattern. Okay, so we're doing alternate rounds of our sequence is a front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post, and so forth. The next round will be the opposite. So everywhere we did a front post double crochet, we'll do a back post double crochet. So it switches, and that creates this woven look of our mitten. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to, that last stitch worked. We're going to insert our hook in there, and we're going to tie the yarn onto the last stitch. Just tie it right on there. Then we're going to chain 3, but we need to stay in pattern. So to give this cohesive, continuous basket weave, if we just chained 3, we'd have this really pretty basket weave, and then this chain, you know, each time we start a new round, it would go all the way up and just be this kind of line that didn't blend in with the rest of the pattern. So what we need to do is we're going to chain, but we're going to do it as if to front post double crochet. So what I mean by that is insert your hook behind the chain like this, bring up a loop, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to mimic the look of the front post double crochet. You can see this blue one here. It's going to mimic that look. Okay? So then what we're going to do is work a back post double crochet into the next stitch. So we're going to do front post, back post, front post, back post. Okay, so the next one of our sequence would be a back post. So to do that, wrap yarn around hook, come around behind the post. This is our post. We're not working into the stitch. We're working around these posts. Go over top of it, come back around, bring up a loop, and bring it through back the way you came. So you'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then you'll just finish it the way you would a double crochet. So wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. I have a complete video on this particular stitch. I will link to it so you can watch that. If you're not familiar with this stitch, you can practice it a little bit off to the side and kind of master it before you proceed. The next stitch will again be the front post double crochet, and again I also have a video on this stitch if you need to go back and practice a little bit before you proceed. So to do the front post double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, go under it like this. See, the back post we came from back and around. This one we're going to go under it. It's kind of the opposite. So go under, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the way you came. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we just did a back post double crochet and a front post double crochet. We're going to continue doing this all the way around. So we'll do a few more together, and then I'll continue with the round as well. Okay, so we'll do a back post double crochet, and then a front post double crochet. So this round is establishing our basket weave, and it's going to give us lots of texture. And in crochet and knitting as well, texture equates to warmth. So that'll make your gloves extra warm, having all these wonderful textures happening. Okay, so we just did a back post double crochet. Now we're doing a front post double crochet and a back post. Okay, so I'm going to continue around in this sequence, front post, back post, front post, back post. And because we did 18 stitches, that's an even number. So that's going to keep us in pattern and keep this continuous basket weave all the way around. Okay, so front post double crochet, back post double crochet. I'm going to continue with the round, and then we'll rejoin towards the end of the round and start the next round. Okay, I'm at the end of the round, and I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. Same thing we've been doing. Okay, so now we're ready for our next color. Now this round that I just did, we're going to repeat 5 times. So we're going to have, this purple here was just the regular double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll be ready to make the thumb hole of the mitten. So I'm going to get you started on this round and just show you how to switch your stitches to make the basket weave pattern. So the next color of our lineup here is charcoal. So what we're going to do is where we left off here, that stitch here, we're going to just tie it right in. So insert your hook into that stitch, bring up a loop, and then just tie it right on. You can already see some of this texture happening, and it looks very pretty. And I really like how the colors are kind of playing together and how they kind of play together in this pattern as well. So it's really fun to experiment with color. And this yarn in particular, the wool spun, is very easy to work with. It has a smooth strand and it comes in a ton of colors, and a lot of them all match together. So it's really fun to pick out yarn from this line. Okay, so we're ready to begin the next round. Again, this round is repeated for a total of 5 times. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite of what we did before. So remember how we did our chain as if to front post double crochet? We're going to do the opposite because we're going to be alternating. Every time you do a stitch, you're going to alternate, and that's what gives you that woven look, okay? So how to do that is come in with just your hook as if you're doing a back post double crochet. So we're going to go over top of the post and come back in with your yarn. Bring it through and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're doing the opposite, the back post double crochet. And see these little strands? You can kind of come in from the back here, just kind of pull them down, get them out of the way. You're going to have lots of strands. Okay, so the next stitch, because we did a back post double crochet, we're going to be doing the front post double crochet in this first stitch. So this basket weave pattern will establish itself pretty quickly. Okay, now we're doing a back post double crochet. You can see the back post double crochets have a little bar. They're kind of behind the green. The front posts kind of continue with this continuous rib, if you will. Okay, so front post on this one, because the previous stitch from the previous row was a back post. Okay, now this one will be a back post. This one will be a front post. This one will be a back post. So it's easy to kind of memorize this, but it's still engaging, you know, to keep you kind of entertained while you're making this mitten. So it's easy, but it's still engaging, I think. Okay, so back post, then a front post. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around, and let's just look back at what we've done because it's looking very pretty. You can see it's already looking nice in texture. The colors are kind of interacting with one another. So I'm going to continue around, and then when we rejoin towards the end of this round, I'll show you how to join and continue. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the round. Now I wanted to point out, when you come up to the end, sometimes your chain 3 at the beginning may be kind of like leaning over. Just kind of pick it up and then you'll kind of see what you have going on there. So count 3 chains up and then join to close with a slip stitch. There we go. Okay, so that round is complete. Now what we're going to do for the next couple of rounds. So the green round was all regular double crochet stitches. Then we had the white round where we did a chain 3 as if to front post double crochet. Then we did a round where we chain 3 as if to back post double crochet. Okay, so we're going to repeat this round a few more times, but we're going to alternate. So the round we did in off-white, we're going to do for this round. Okay, so the next color in our sequence is green. Okay, so just get all those strands out of the way. And my yarn is kind of all over the place right now. Okay, so where we left off here, this stitch here, we're going to just insert the hook. We're going to be repeating the round we did in the off-white for this green round as well. And this is going to continue our woven look mittens. Okay, so we're just tying it right on. Now for this round, we're going to chain 3 as if to front post double crochet. So because you can see the previous round, this gray, we did it as if to back post. So now we're ready for a front post again. Okay, so go under like we did before, grab your green yarn, bring it through and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're just going to continue the same way we've done. So we just did our chain 3 as if to front post. So now we're ready for the back post. So yarn around hook, come around from the back, around, bring the yarn through, complete the stitch. Okay, back post, now we're ready for front post. So you can see that back post from the previous row. If you get kind of confused or stuck, you can just look at what you've done in the previous round, and that will help you decide what to do next. Okay, that was a back post. Now we're ready for a front post. See, we're checking our work. We have that little bar there. That's how we know we did a back post before. Okay, that was a front post. Now we're ready for the back post. So we're just going to do back post, front post, back post, front post, all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this round, and then again we'll just rejoin towards the end. Okay, I'm just working that very last back post double crochet of the round. And then we can find this chain 3 from the beginning of the round and join to close with a slip stitch. Now, one thing I love to do, we're just going to cut and fasten off because we're ready to begin a new color. One thing I love to do when I'm making things like this, mittens or socks or slippers, is I think I do this a million times while I'm making these pieces, I love to try them on. And that's a really good idea, to kind of try it on and to see how it's shaping up, how it's feeling, how it's fitting. It has a nice, cozy, not tight fit. It's on there, but it's not loose or anything like that. It's nice and cozy. Okay, so that's just a side note. Something I like to do while I'm making things is to try them on as I go. Okay, so we are ready to work the next round. Now again, we're going to have this round we've been doing where we've been alternating this basket weave, not including this green double crochet, and we're going to be doing 5 of these. So we've done 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 2 more. So the next color of our sequence, and my yarn's getting a little bit messy. When you're doing stripes, it's a good idea to keep everything nice and neat. I've gotten a little wild with my yarn here. Okay, so here is the off-white, and just find that last stitch that you worked where you joined, and then just tie this right on. Okay, just tie it right on there. Okay, so we're in the second to last round before we begin the thumb hole of our mitten. Okay, so here's where we left off. So last time we did a front post double crochet to start. So we're going to start by chaining as if to back post. Okay, so just bring your hook back over and around, come up here and grab your yarn, bring it back through and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then these tails, see all these tails are like all over the place. You just kind of get them out of the way for now. Okay, next we did a back post in the previous round, so we're going to do a front post. So we're just going to do the same thing, alternating. Front post, back post, front post, back post, like we've done before. It's always a good idea to see what you've done in the previous round so you're not duplicating, and then that will give a different look. It's equally pretty, but it'll give a different look, more of a ribbed look and not a woven look. Okay, so I'm just going to continue around like we've been doing. Front post, back post, front post, back post. And we'll rejoin towards the end of this round as well. Okay, so we're just going to join again. I finished my round, joining with a slip stitch to close. Now we can begin the last round of this section of the mitten. This will be the last round before we start the part where the thumb hole goes. So when we construct our mitten, we can look at it from the side view here. Here's the mitten. When we come around the round, we're going to create a hole and then continue with our mitten, and this will allow us to add the thumb at the end. The thumb is very easy to add on, and I'm going to show you how to do that also. Okay, so charcoal is up next. So let's get the charcoal yarn. There we go. Okay, we're just going to join it the same way. That last stitch worked. Just insert your hook. Tie the new yarn right on. Same thing we've been doing. Just tie that right on there. Okay, get those little tails out of the way. Again, you can weave these in as you go along. It's probably the best way to do it, but I'm just going to get them out of the way. Okay, So where we left off here, we had our back post. So we're going to do a front post for this first stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the next one is a back post, a back post double crochet. Okay, we're just doing the same type of thing we've been doing. Next stitch, front post. So we're going to do back post, front post, back post, front post for this round. And then we're going to be ready to do the thumb hole round of our mitten. Okay, I'm going to continue around and then we will rejoin towards the end of this round as well. So again, work the front post, back post, front post, back post of this round as well also. Okay, we're just coming up to the end of the round. I just worked my last stitch. Then we're going to join again with a slip stitch to close. Okay, so we're done this first section of the mitten. We can just fasten that off. Then we're ready to begin the next section. These next couple of rounds will incorporate the thumb hole. Then we can begin the top part of the mitten. Okay, so let's work on that. Now, if you want to, again, you can try your mitten on just to see how it's going. It looks great. Okay. Okay, so now we're ready to begin the thumb hole row. So green is the next color of our sequence. So we're just going to tie the new yarn right on. Bring it through. Just tie it right on there. Same thing we've been doing. Okay, so now we are at the chain 3 from the previous round. So what we're going to do is this, we worked as a front post, so we're going to chain 3 as if to back post for this one. So come in with your hook over top of that post, wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through, and we'll get our little ends out of the way here. Lots of ends with all of these stripes. Okay, so now chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now I have our ends. I'll just give them a little tug. There we go, just to get those out of the way. Okay, next we're going to work a front post because this one was a back post. We're going to work a front post double crochet into that stitch. Okay, next we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So this stitch here, we'll skip that. The next stitch, we'll skip that. So in the stitch after that, we're going to work a back post double crochet. And then we're going to continue with our woven pattern. So I'm going to work a few stitches and then we're going to go back and try this on just to make sure that this thumb hole has a comfortable fit. Okay, so just keep going in the woven pattern. So front post after that, back post, front post, and so forth. Okay, but I'm going to pause just for a moment and just try this on just to make sure this thumb hole is what it should be. Okay, I just have an end sticking out here. Okay, so this is what the thumb hole is going to look like. Okay, now we're going to build on that, so obviously it'll look different, but just want to make sure when you try that on that it's not squeezing your thumb too much. So we did a chain 2 up here. If it's too tight, just do a chain 3 or even a chain 4 if you need it to be extra big. But just at this point, just try that on to make sure that that feels good. Okay, so I'm just going to continue with this round and then we're going to rejoin and I'm going to show you how to do the next round where we'll be building upon this buttonhole. Okay, I've come to the end of the round. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. Next, we can fasten off with our green yarn. And the next color in our sequence here is this off-white color. So just grab that and we're going to tie that on. Okay, we're going to work the next round of this thumb hole to, I'm going to show you how to kind of work those stitches into this thumb hole and continue in our pattern, okay? So this last stitch that we ended up on, we're just going to tie the new yarn right on, same way we've been doing. And we did a chain as if to back post, so we will front post it this time. Okay, so chain 3, just inserting the hook that way, okay? Next, we're going to just continue around in our pattern. So the next stitch was a front post, so we'll work a back post for that stitch. Now we've come to the thumb hole. Now that, if you remember, we skipped 2 stitches, so we need to compensate for that in this round. So we're going to just right into this thumb hole space, we're just going to work 2 double crochets. Nothing fancy, just 2 regular, just going to get some more yarn. Just 2 regular old double crochets right into that thumb hole. Okay, that will get us back on track for our stitch count for the remainder of the mitten, okay? So I worked 2 double crochets right into that thumb hole. Then we're back to the previous stitch was of the previous round was a back post double crochet. So we're going to work a front post for that stitch. And then we're just going to continue around in our pattern. So back post. And then a front post. Now I know sometimes when you're working patterns like this, where you're doing these kind of stacked where each round relies on the round before it to continue, you can kind of get off. So if you're finding that, for example, when you started this round, you might need to do a back post instead to continue with the pattern, that's okay if you need to do that for your own particular mitten. All right, so I'm going to continue around like we've been doing. You're just going to finish the round the same way as we've done for previous rounds, and then we'll rejoin towards the end of this round as well. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of the round again, joining with a slip stitch to close. Okay, so the thumb hole of our mitten is complete. So with these 2 rounds, we've established that. So let me get all these little strands out of the way, and I just want to show you what we have so far. You can just try that on. And at this point, if you want to make a nice little fingerless mitt, you can do that. Add a few more, an edge up here. But we're going to continue with the mitten. So I just wanted to show you how that's looking. It's fitting very nicely. It has a snug, but I'm still able to move and bend, and it fits very, very nicely. It has a very nice fit. Okay, so the next couple of rounds we're going to do is just working just a few rounds to get some height on our mitten before we start to decrease for this rounded top. So we're going to work 2 rounds of just the basket weave pattern. I'm going to get you started on this round. So the next color is, let's see, charcoal. So we have charcoal again. We're just going to work around in our woven pattern, okay? All right, so we have our new yarn tied on. We're just doing the same thing that we've been doing, okay? Even when we get to these regular double crochets of the thumb hole, we're just going to do the same exact thing. Okay, so the last one was a front post, so we'll do our chain 3 as if to back post. Same thing we've been doing. If you notice, each time it switches when we tie on the yarn. Okay, so this was a back post, so we're going to do a front post, double crochet, and a back post. Now we're going to be approaching this thumb hole where we've worked that. So you're just going to continue in pattern. Now I already did this first one. So I did this as a back post. Now I'm going to do this one as a front post. Just like that. This one will be a back post, and see how it just continued that sequence so perfectly as we've been doing before. So these are really shaping up. They're looking really great, and I'm really loving this wintry color selection that I've chosen here. It's just, the colors are playing together so nicely. Okay, it almost looks like reminds me of some like a argyle color scheme or something that you would see in like a winter sweater. Okay, I'm just going to continue around this round, and then I'm going to work this round one more time, but in the green, because that's the next color of our round. So repeat this round 2 times, this time and then one more time. And then we're going to start decreasing. So we're going to start decreasing and working the top of our mitten next. Okay, so I went ahead and worked that round two times. And then we're going to do a little bit of a decrease, because if we put on our mitten, what we have so far, you can see that the fingers start to taper in a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of a decrease. Okay, so the next color in our sequence is the cream color. So we're just going to tie that on. And I'm going to show you how to decrease while still keeping with this woven look. I won't interrupt the flow of our woven appearance here. Okay, so the last one we did here, this was a front post. So let's chain 3 as if to back post this time. And again, if you come to yours and you realize that, wait a minute, I did a back post for mine, and mine happens to be a front post, it's totally fine. You just start a different way for this round. I think I mentioned that before, but it's fine as long as you're doing the opposite of what you've done before. Sometimes these sequences can get thrown off. Okay, so we're going to do a back post, as if to back post, chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And let's get all these ends out of the way here. Okay, so what I want to do now is work the next stitch like we normally would. So this was a back post, so we're going to front post double crochet into the next stitch we come to. Then we're going to do a decrease. So these 2 stitches, we're going to turn these 2 stitches into 1 stitch, and that has to be done a certain way because of this. See how this is a front post and this is a back post. So what we're going to do is wrap yarn around hook and insert it as if to, wrap yarn around hook, insert it as if to back post, because we're doing the woven look. And bring it back through, bring up a loop. Now wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, but don't complete the stitch. Then wrap yarn around hook and insert as if to front post double crochet, bring it through, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Now wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. So we've just decreased, but we're keeping the woven appearance. Okay, we're going to do that one more time and then finish the round as normal. So back post double crochet, bring it through the first 2 loops and then stop. Then front post, bring it through the first 2 loops and then stop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through all 3 loops. So we just turned 4 of these stitches into 2. So we're just going to kind of taper our mitten a little bit. Okay? So keep going with that right in your woven sequence. So that one is a back post. And work a front post double crochet. Then a back post, then a front post. We're going to keep going all the way around until we get to the end of the round. So what we're doing is, I don't know if you remember earlier, we kind of increased when we had this thumb gusset here. So we're just bringing it back down a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to finish this round here. and then we're going to continue the top part of our mitten. So back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post. Our mitten has gotten very big. It's almost covering the entire hand when we try it on at this point. So these are really fun to work on. And if you want to be a little bit fun with your mitten, you can make your cuffs different colors. You can make the thumb, each one have a different color. You can really explore the different possibilities with this pattern. Okay, we're just coming around this round here. I'm just going to get some more yarn. Let's try that again. Front post. There we go. Okay, so I'm just finishing off the round. Okay, I'm at the end. Join with a slip stitch to close the round. And then we can fasten off. Okay, so the next couple of rounds, I just want to show you what we have here. The next couple of rounds, we're just going to work regular rounds in the woven sequence, just to get a little bit more height on our mitten before we start to create that rounded top. So I'm just getting these tails out of the way so I can show you. There we go. Yeah, we haven't dealt with our tails yet, so they're kind of all over the place right now. But that's perfectly fine. Okay, I just want to show you where we're at here. We have come up to getting towards our tops of our fingers. Okay, so I've worked that round for a total of 4 times, and this is how much we have left. You can see just a little bit. So next we're going to do the decrease. We did a little bit of a decrease a little bit earlier back here, but we're going to do another one, and that's going to shape the top here. So we're just going to be turning all these stitches smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to the top. Okay, so we have 3 rounds left, then we're going to close up the top of the mitten. So the next color in our sequence is green. So what we're going to do is we're going to be tying the yarn right on, so that last stitch worked from the round. Just do the same thing we've been doing. Bring the new yarn through, tie it right on. Okay, so for this round, what we need to do is look at the stitch again. That was a back post, so we're going to chain 3 again as if to front post. So bring it under, bring it through, and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Work the next stitch just as you normally would. So that was a front post, so we'll make this a back post double crochet. Now for the remainder of the stitches, we're going to crochet them together. So these 2 stitches here, the next 2 stitches you come to, we're going to turn these 2 stitches into 1. So we did that a little bit earlier, and I'm going to show you how to do that again, because we're going to do this all the way around for the whole round. We're going to be doing this. So this next one happens to be a back post. So we're going to do a front post double crochet, but not finish the stitch. So bring the yarn through, yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops. Next we'll hop over it, but not finish it. So next we'll hop over to the next stitch, wrap yarn around hook, insert for a back post double crochet, bring up the loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops only, 3 loops are on the hook, yarn around hook, bring through all 3 loops. So we've just turned these 2 stitches into 1. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way around, and we're also going to do this round, and then the next 2 rounds will be done the same way. Okay, so just do the same thing. So this is a front post double crochet, bring it through the first 2 loops only, Next stitch is a back post double crochet. Bring it through, yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. Okay, you can see already these stitches are slanting inward. Okay, so we're just going to do this for the rest of the round. Front post, first 2 loops only. Next stitch is a back post, bring it through, first 2 loops only, yarn around hook, all 3 loops. Next stitch, front post double crochet, bring it through the first 2 loops only. Next one would be a back post, bring it through, yarn around hook, first 2 loops only, yarn around hook, all 3 loops. Okay? So just keep doing that all the way around. This is going to give that nice tapered mitten top that we need to close up the top of our mitten and shape those fingers. Okay? Getting very close to the end here. Okay, I'm just decreasing all of these stitches all the way around. Okay, we're about halfway through. Whoops, there we go. And we get a little bit more yarn. And we have our last 4 stitches, so let's go ahead and decrease those as well. Whoops, I got a tail wrapped in there. There we go. And we're finished our round. We're right back at the beginning. So we're going to look for that chain 3 at the top, join to close. Okay, and I just wanted to put this mitten on one more time just to show you how it's shaping up. Cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, we can tuck that tail in. So we can put on the mitten and you can see how it's just shaping it up so nicely. We'll just get all these tails out of the way. There's a lot of tails inside of this mitten that we'll be dealing with later. Okay, so the glove, or the mitten rather, is getting a little bit shaped up at the top. Okay, so we're going to repeat this round 2 more times and then we'll rejoin and I'll show you how to close up the top. Okay, so I went ahead and worked that decrease round for a total of 3 times. So as you can see, our top is now nice and rounded and it looks much like a mitten. However, if you look at the top, there's a hole. You can see my fingers down in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this tail. I've already cut the tail, so just leave yourself 8 to 12 inches. Mine might be a tiny bit short. And your tapestry needle. Then we're going to turn the mitten inside out. And we can see all of these ends just waiting to be woven in. But we're going to look for the very last one that we had. See, I remember I said earlier, it looked like a horse's mane almost hanging down. But if you wove your ends as you went along, you wouldn't have this. But, you know, either way is totally fine. It just depends on how you want to deal with the ends. So just thread your tapestry needle. Then you're going to look at your mitten, the opening. Then we're just going to whip stitch this closed very quickly. So sandwich it together. Just take your needle between both layers of the top. Just whip stitch it closed. Okay, just like that. And then take the last loop that you've made, just take your needle, pull it tight to make a knot, and then just give it a very nice firm tug, and that's going to kind of draw it in a little bit. Okay, And then I would just put another little knot on top just to secure everything nicely. Then we can flip our mitten back out, turn everything back out, and it looks like a mitten. A mitten without a thumb, but a mitten nonetheless. Okay, so let's locate, there's our thumb hole right here. Okay, so let's put our mitten on. And it looks awesome. It looks fabulous. I love the colors. The woven texture that we've created is continued all the way around, even on the decrease area. And the top kind of looks like a starburst. It looks beautiful. Very happy with it, and it fits perfectly. Okay, so let's do the mitten thumb really quick into our thumb hole, and then our mitten will be complete, except for all the ends, of course, but our mitten will be complete. Okay, so we have our charcoal. We're going to do the thumb in the same color as the cuff. So what we're going to do is just find an area, doesn't matter where, so we're going to be working in a circle all the way around our thumb hole. And then just take your charcoal yarn, and then we're just going to tie it right on. Just like that. Okay? Then we're going to go back in where we just tied that yarn, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop and chain 2. 1, 2, okay? Shit. Okay, we're going to go in with our hook to the same place you tied the yarn on, reach in and chain 1, okay? Then we're going to work 12 single crochets all the way around. So you'll just have to evenly space them the best that you can because we're working around all these textured edges, okay? So 1, just the best you can, finding holes and stitches to work them into. 2. See, I'm now in like this green area here. You need to kind of go in between some things, that's okay. 3. 4. 5. 6. I'm just going in between things. 7. 8. 9. And to prevent gaps and things in your thumb hole, you might want to go in between and maybe split a stitch or 2. Okay, so that would be 10. That'll kind of bring that stuff up. Okay, 11. We're coming back to where we began. We tuck that tail sticking out here. And I'm going to go way down here for this one. And 12. Okay, so now we have 12 single crochets. Okay, and now we've set up our thumb. Okay, we have a end popping out, and we'll just tuck that back in. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch, and we're going to do that 4 times. Okay, so chain 1, and then we're going to do a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And we're going to repeat this round 4 times. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then so forth. Okay, so go all the way around, and we'll rejoin at the end of this round, but then we'll be repeating this round a few more times to complete the thumb. Okay, so I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to close. Okay, so we're going to repeat this round 4 more times to get the thumb established, and then I'll show you how to finish off the thumb. Okay, so we repeated that round for a total of 4 times. So then we're going to chain 1, and then for the next round what we're going to do is work a single crochet in the first stitch. Then the next 2 stitches we'll work a single crochet 2 together. So insert the hook, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Insert the hook into the next stitch, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. Okay, so we'll just repeat that all the way around. Single crochet, then the next round, single crochet, 2 together. Okay, this is going to allow us to start getting a tapered look to close up our thumb. Okay, so we're just going to do this all the way around. Single crochet, then single crochet, 2 together. Now we're joined to close that round. Then we're going to do the same thing. So chain 1, then work a single crochet into the first stitch, and then single crochet together, 2 together over the next 2 stitches. So just do the same thing. Single crochet, then single crochet 2 together. Single crochet, then single crochet 2 together. Single crochet, then single crochet 2 together. Okay? Single crochet, then single crochet 2 together. And then we're back where we began. So just that stitch is a little snug there, so I'm just getting my hook in there. There we go. And then we can join. Okay. So our thumb is the length that we need it to be. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut the yarn and then we're going to fasten off. Same way we've done. And we're going to keep this tail. We're going to pop it through here because we're going to turn our mitten back inside out, same way we did with the top. We're going to just close the thumb the same way. Okay, so just push the there we go. Okay, so our thumb is inside out. So then just take your tapestry needle, go ahead and you'll just have a few little stitches here, just three whip stitches is all it takes. Pull it really, really tight to close that off and make, whoops, we can just do that with our hand at this point. Just make a nice knot at the top, okay? And then just get that really snug. You can do a few more knots if you like. Okay, so we're just gonna turn that back out and pop this thumb back out. Get everything nice and straightened out. Now, again, we still have all these ends to weave in, but okay, and then we can try on our mitten, and it is absolutely perfect. It looks fantastic, okay? So we have a lot of ends here. Now, I'm not gonna show you how to do every single one because then we would need a whole nother video for that with all these ends, but we'll just do one together. So what you're gonna do is thread your tapestry needle, and see how I have a gray strand? We're gonna work the gray into the gray parts of the mitten only. Same for the green. Weave the green into the green areas. Otherwise it's gonna show and look kind of messy. So you're gonna weave it into the back side. So I kind of just flipped the cuff up, but you'll wanna turn it inside out. So then just come in one direction with your tapestry needle. Whoops, mine popped off. Then come back in the other direction, just like that. And then just repeat for all the other ends. Now, if you wove your ends in as you went along, which is kind of the way to do it, you'll have a lot less work at this point. But I chose to just kind of go as I went. So I have all these ends to weave in now. So anyway, that's it. Our mitten is complete. So let's just try it back on. So we have it now in the green, and we have our other one in this lovely purple, and they look fantastic. Okay, I'm trying to get them both here in the frame. So that is how you crochet the Sleigh Ride Mittens. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.